Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope everyone is having a great Wednesday. It was a great day for the markets. So we're going to take a look at what's going on with the markets, S&P, Dow, NASDAQ, Bitcoin, Ethereum. They all rebounded towards the end of the day. There's a reason for it. The Fed spoke and the markets liked it along with the miners. They also liked it. So we'll take a look at all that. We'll also take a look what the Fed actually had to say with the 25 basis points increase. Markets did rebound towards the end of the day after he spoke, which was good because they were kind of heading down in the wrong direction. And then Terawulf Dilution incoming possibly. They might increase shares by 100%. That's up to a vote, I believe. We'll get into all the details there, everything that we have on it. And then we'll also take a look at Bitfarms. Their revenue was up 17% from December, which was great. We'll take a look at the numbers. They're also pretty good. They're not that bad, actually, considering that network hash rate has gone up quite tremendously. So, as always, this is going to be a little bit longer video than usual. It's going to be, I'm guessing, probably 30, 40 minutes. So grab some popcorn, grab a pop, whatever you need, and let's get into it. So, not financial advice as always, for entertainment only. Do your own research. I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure as well. So you guys know that. And if you enjoyed this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at the markets here. So the S&P actually finished up today on the plus side after it was down a little bit today. It was up 1.05% to 4119. Dow Jones was also up just barely 0.02, but you can see this huge swing that we had on the Dow Jones. We just take a look at it here on the daily from bottom to top. We went up basically 2% from where it bottomed out at. On that one, NASDAQ was up also nicely today, 2.16% to 12,363. If we look at that one really quick, where it bottomed out at and where it went up, we were up approximately 3.61% from the bottom. So pretty good day on that one. Bitcoin was also up nicely today. It was up approximately 2.62% higher. If you look at the bottom where it bottomed out, it was and peak. It was probably closer to 3.5% up today on the day. So that was good. So it closed at 23,735. We had a low of 22,760, and we had a high of 23,813. We are right now at 24,000. We broke our resistance here at 23,800. We are above it now. We'll see if we can actually close above it tonight into tomorrow. That would be a good sign going there. And we'll also take a look at the 4-hour chart, see how we're doing there. RSI obviously today went up a little bit crazy here because we had a nice spike here. If we look at the RSI here on it, from where we ended up in the bottom today to the top of it, which was right around here, we were up 6.5% from the bottom today in the last 12 hours basically. Okay, so a really good day, and the RSI is now in the 70 territory, so we're looking a little bit overbought, but last time we were here was back here. Price at that point was lower, so we are looking better on it right now. On the 1-hour chart, we can also see here that the RSI now is at 78, a little bit overbought. Last time we were at this height, roughly close to it. If we go to the peak here, we were at 85. Last time we were at 85 here. Price was lower at that point. So we are actually looking pretty good as well as price is higher right now. Okay, Ethereum on the daily chart, if we look at it here, it is now at, let's see here, it was up 3.57% on the day today. It is up another 2.5% so far in the new day. It's at 1,683. We did close today at 1,642, a low of 1,556, and a high of 1,647. So it's kind of looking the same way. If we look at the 4-hour chart here, we can see nice pump here in the last 12 hours, it looks like. RSI is at 70. Last time RSI was close to that was back here. Price was lower, so we're looking good there. On the 1-hour chart also, we can see that the RSI is at 80. Last time we were this high on the RSI was, well, we haven't been that high on the 1-hour chart for a while. All the way back up to here at that point. Let's see if we can get close to it. Price was actually lower at that point as well. So that's a good sign there. So I think we are heading into more of a bullish trend right now, especially with what the Fed had to say. We'll get into that here shortly after we cover the miners. And let's take a look at the miners here on the daily chart. A lot of them were down on the day until the very end, right after Fed spoke, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. And let's see here, ANY was down up today 0.16% to 38 cents. And you can see this wick on, probably on all of these miners for today where they bottomed out and then bounced towards the end of the day. If you look at Argo, Argo was actually down today 1.04% to $1.90. Digital was up 11.11% to $1.60. Bitfarms was up 12.56%. A really good day for them, up to $1.11. CleanSpark was up 2.21% to $3.24. They were way down also. They were down like 7% on the day. And then they bounced back up, so they had a pretty nice day there. Cores was up 16.45% to 41 cents. They were up much higher than that. They were at almost 46 cents at one point. DigiHost was up 2.06 to $1.98. DMG was up 6.14% to 24 cents. Greenidge, why did that bounce over there? Greenidge was up 2.38% to 86 cents. And why is that doing that? Oh, that is weird. Okay, well, we'll do it this way. Greenidge was up 2.38% to 86 cents. Hive was up 7.51% to $3.72. HUD A was up also quite nicely today, 11.92% to $2.16. Iris Energy looks like it was flat on the day at $2.14. Marathon was up 4.3% to $7.52. Mawson was down 1.13% to 52 cents. And Riot was up 9.41% to $6.86. Soluna was down 1.73% to 41 cents. And Terawulf was up 5.39% to $1.03. So it looks like we had 3 miners that were down today. The rest were still up on the day after all. Okay, let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick, see where we are right now. It looks like the 7-day average has come down a little bit here to 289 million from our peak here at 295 million. So about 6 million terahashes less on the 7-day average. But if we look at the 1-day chart, we have come down here to 224 million, which is surprising that we dropped that low. Then we rebounded back up to 267 right now. Okay, so that is increasing as Bitcoin price is going to go up. That's going to plug in and get higher hash rates going forward. So that's what we have for all of that. Let's take a look at our first story here, which is going to be on the Fed. So let's take a look at that one. So here's Federal Reserve raises interest rates another 0.25% to highest since October of 2007. This was right around our housing bubble crash, loan banks, everything was going south in 2008, 2009. So this is going quite a ways back. So in its statement on Wednesday, the central bank acknowledged the slowdown in inflation as the Fed continues to assess the impact its interest rates hikes have had on consumer prices over the last year, which is good. And let me get rid of that. The 25 basis point rate hike marks a further slowdown in the Fed's pace of rate increases after the Fed raised rates by 50 basis points in December and 75 basis points at each of its 4 meetings from June through November. This was the fastest clip since 1980s. And we know that inflation has gone pretty high the past year, but they are getting it under control, which is good. The Fed officials acknowledged in Wednesday's statement, inflation has eased somewhat, but remains elevated. The Fed no longer noted Russia's war in Ukraine as contributing upward pressure on inflation, so that's good, but said this conflict is contributing to elevated global uncertainty, which is also true. Okay. Speaking in a press conference on Wednesday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell was somewhat more optimistic on the outlook for inflation, saying we can now say for the first time that the disinflationary process has started. And this is what the markets liked. And after he spoke, markets started to rally up a little bit, which was why we ended up with a good day. So going forward, I think this is actually a really good thing. This is going to give us the bull rally that we've been kind of looking for, I think. Now, as far as where we're going to end up, I really don't know, but we'll see where that does happen. But it is a good thing nonetheless. If we get 25 basis points, maybe the next time around, and then maybe a pause, maybe another 25 after that, we'll see how it all goes. But I think that's going to be a good sign going forward, not only for the markets, but as well for the miners themselves, okay? So next story that we do have on is on Terawulf. And actually, that's over here. So Terawulf, they're in kind of a little bit of a debt trouble right now. We'll see if this is going to be able to help them out. And let's take a look at it here. So Terawulf announces proposed public offering of common stock. They didn't list how much they're going to be offering here. They did provide their SEC filing. So let's take a look at that here. And there's quite a bit of stuff to go over here. So this is from today. And this is subject to completion, dated February 1st, 2023. So there is some missing information here as far as public offering price, underwriting discounts, proceeds, so forth, and so on is not in here. And then the main things I could take away from this, and I'm not a financial guy, this is a little bit above my head. If you guys are more proficient in this, let me know down in the comments what this all means. But here's what I basically got out of it. And I highlighted the parts here. So they're entering into a binding term sheet for the 5th Amendment to LGSA, which was, I believe, back in December of 2021. So this is the 5th time they amended it, I guess. And they entered into it on January 27th here of this year. So the highlighted part here, let me see if I can maybe zoom this in for you guys. There we go. So the term sheet for the contemplated Fifth Amendment to the LSGA eliminates mandatory amortization of the term loan through April 8th, 2024, subject to certain conditions, including the completion of an equity capital raise with aggregate net proceeds of at least $33.5 million by March 15th. So they need to raise at least that much in order for this to go into effect. The term sheet also provides for an excess cash flow sweep in place of scheduled principal payments, which will automatically extend to the maturity of the term loan on December 1st, 2024. So that would give them basically almost a full year to pay this. In the event the company repays at least $40 million of the term loan by April 1st. So they need $33.5 million by March 15th. And if they pay $40 million on the loan by April 1st, they get that extended out to basically the end of the year here. Okay, so that's one. So they got to raise at least, we could say possibly 40 million here. The number of shares outstanding right now is about 140 some odd million. Stock price is at $1 something right now. So you're looking at possibly 40 million shares just to get this done here. That would represent what, roughly 30% or so, something like that, 28 to 30% dilution potentially from that. And then we also have private placement warrants. On January 30th, 2023, they entered into a warrant subscription agreement with warrant investors for an aggregate purchase price of $2.5 million. So you got another basically 2.5 million shares added on top of that. Roughly, they're staying at $1.05 for a total of 2.38 million shares. All right. So that's another one that they're going to be adding. I don't know if that's already coming out of what they have available to them or if this is going to be part of this stock that they want to raise. And then down here on January 6th, the company entered into an additional subscription agreements with the December investors, pursuant to which such December investors purchased from the company's shares of the company's common stock at a purchase price of 40 cents. They're getting another 1.75 million there. On February 1st, 2023, the company entered into an additional subscription agreement that's going to be for February common stock investors, and it's going to be an aggregate purchase price of 0.94 million. So that's basically almost 2.7 million there total. And there was something else here. There's another one on January 30th, amendment to existing convertible promissory notes. So the company entered into amendments into its previously issued convertible promissory notes, originally issued to certain accredited investors on November 25th of last year, and further amended on December 12th. So they're going to be an aggregate principal amount of approximately 3.4 million. So you got 3.4 million here. You got what is it going to be? Almost 2.7. So you're almost at, 5 million something on that alone. And then here's the big kicker of it all. The company expects to file on February 1st, 2023, a preliminary proxy statement to hold a special meeting of its shareholders to amend the company's charter to, 1, increase the maximum number of authorized shares of common stock with a par value of 0.001 per share from 200 million to 400 million. So that's 100% increase in the number of shares, and maximum number of authorized shares of preferred stock with the par value of 0.001 per share from 25 million to 100 million. That's, 4x, right? 4x on that. Collectively, the share increase amendment. And number 2, remove the restrictions on stockholder action by written consent. The written consent amendment, and together with the share increase amendment, the charter amendments, the company shareholders of record as of the close of business day on January 27th are entitled to vote their shares at the special meeting. So it all depends on whether or not this can go through. I'm guessing that this is probably going to go through because they do have a lot of debt to cover here. And I think that was it that I wanted to talk about on here. There's a lot of information here, and it's a little bit over my head here, but that's kind of what I was able to gather from all of this. Now, if you guys have any further information on this, you're specializing in this more than I am, I'd love to hear down in the comments. So let me know on that one. And then if we look at their numbers from, this was Q3, I believe. This is from Q3 of 2022. So these are the latest numbers that we do have. Now it's obviously 4 months old now. I'm guessing that the numbers are going to be a little bit worse than they are right now, based on where things are at right now. So debt to equity at that time, at the end of Q3, was 1.5, which isn't good. You want that to be under 1. Current ratio was at 0.1526. You want that to be above 1. So that's not good either. If we look at their current assets at the end of September was 16 million. and change. They had cash of 4.4 million, restricted cash of about 7.2 million, prepaid expenses. We're not going to look at that. Other current assets of 1.1 million. So total is 16 million in total current assets. If you look at their total current liabilities, it was 105 million. Not sure how much of this they paid down, if any of it. I'm sure they probably paid down some of it, but don't know exactly how much until we get Q4 results. Once we get Q4 results, we'll be able to take a look at what's going on there. But total current assets is 309 million. Their biggest chunk of change in here is the 202 million for property and equipment, and then equity and net assets of investee. Not sure what that is. 76 million there on that one. Okay. So when we look at total current assets, 16 million compared to total current liabilities of 105 million. And then total liabilities is 188 million. They do have long-term liabilities of 82 million. So they need to raise quite a bit to get out of this potentially. Yeah, so we'll have to take a look at it to see how things are going there. Let me see. Their revenue was increasing here in the third quarter, which was good, and almost tripled from Q2, which was good. We can take a look at the numbers that we do have them for October, November, December. October, I have them at 2.3 million, November 2.3 million, and then December 2.1 million. So for a total of, it's going to be 6.8 million potentially, based on what they reported as far as mining and in those months and where Bitcoin price was. I used the average Bitcoin price on that as well, so you guys are aware of that. But this is kind of where we're at right now. Their production has peaked in November. They went down to 125 in December. They were supposed to get some more miners installed in January, so we'll wait for their January update to see where things come in at. Hopefully they do provide it. With the trouble that they're in right now, we've seen other miners that have had debt issues no longer provide their monthly production updates, which is a shame. And hopefully they can do this, which would be great to see, and they continue going forward. Now, as far as how much dilution we're going to see out of this, I think we're going to see at least 30-40% dilution in the short term, so they can shore up their balance sheet a little bit. Looks like by raising, selling stocks and raising funds that way. But we'll see where we end up at. Right now, we have them at 145 million shares outstanding. I think they reported 146, if I'm not mistaken, on the prospectus. So we're pretty close to that. And if they raise it up by 40%, that would be, what, almost 200 million shares outstanding right there. So that might take a hit a little bit on the stock price potentially. But we'll see. As long as Bitcoin keeps going up, that might negate this dilution here. Okay. So we'll see. So that's it for that one. And then we'll get into Bitfarms here next. So Bitfarms, let's see here if we got this. We got it right there. Okay. So Bitfarms provided their production updates for January. We've been covering it for a long time. You guys know that I'm invested in them. And let's take a look at their numbers here that they did provide. So Bitfarms upgraded Paraguay farm with 2,888 new miners, increasing hash rate 168. They have also gotten rid of some of the older miners, which is good. We'll take a look at that as well. I'm not going to get into what the president said, I think here. There it is. Chief Mining Officer, Bitfarms, Ben G, said with 486 BTC mined in January, we increased production by 61% compared to 301 BTC in the same period a year ago, and averaged 15.7 BTC mined per day. 2 network difficulty increases during the month impacted overall BTC productivity, as network difficulty increased 10.3% on January 15th, and by another 4% on January 29th, for a total of 15.5% in January. Yes, that's true, but I mean, you really shouldn't count the January 29th increase because it was only 2 days out of that. That really affected you. So they were mining for 15 days, basically at a decreased difficulty. And then they had practically, 14 days at that higher rate for difficulty on it. Okay. Additionally, during the month, we deployed more efficient miners in Paraguay, which added a net 168 petahash per second near the end of the month. So that was good there. And let's see here, CEO, CFO Jeff Lucas added, during the January, we continued to proactively increase financial flexibility by reducing indebtedness and capital expenditure obligations. We paid off 3 of our highest interest rate equipment loans totaling $830,000, which is good. They've been on a kind of like a payoff spree recently in the last 6 months or so. They've been just trying to pay off everything that they can. So that's good. They're getting their debt under control. And then here's our mining review for the month. Total BTC mined in January was 486. Month-end operating hash rate was 4.7. And their BTC average exahash, I think this is 110, and they're using the average exahash for the month. Based on that, operating capacity is 188 megawatts, which is fine. Hydropower 178. And watts per terahash efficiency, they're at 40. That has improved from last year, which was 44, so that's good to see as well. And they are getting rid of some of the older miners and installing newer miners as well. BTC sold was 486, so basically whatever they mined throughout the month, they sold it all. Okay, down here, mining operations, so imported and installed 2,888 new micro-BT M30s into Paraguay, which added a net 168 petahash at this farm, bringing its total hash rate to 288 petahash. This equipment upgrade improves fleet watt per terahash efficiency as it replaces 2,450 silicon T3 miners, which had contributed 120 petahash and are now scheduled to be liquidated. All right, those aren't as profitable anymore, so it's good that they got rid of those. Financial updates, so paid down over 2.5 million in equipment-related indebtedness during the month, including full repayment of the 3 highest interest rate equipment loans totaling approximately 130,000, which reduced the total outstanding equipment related debt to 44.8 million. So that's good. They sold, like I said, 486 for net proceeds of 9.7 million, and they still hodl 405 BTC in custody at the end of January 31st, representing approximately 9.5 million of that at the Bitcoin price of 23,100. Okay, and then that was it here for that one. So overall, it was actually pretty good update. They are getting rid of some of the older miners. They installed newer miners. They're still growing in Paraguay, I think you pronounce it Paraguay, and they're paying off their debt. So that's good. Okay, so let's take a look at the numbers that we do have for them here, and we'll call it a day. So maybe this won't be as long as a video as I thought it was going to be. Okay, let's get into, where is it? Bitfarms. Okay, Bitfarms has about 195 million outstanding shares right now, calculated based on their current stock price and market cap. So take market cap divided by stock price, you get shares outstanding roughly. Okay, market cap is 217 million, and stock price is $1.11 as of today. Current hash rate should be, this one over here should be 4.7. That should be down here. See, I should have checked this before I did this. And that should be down here. Should be the last one. Okay. So 4.7 exahash right now. Future hash rate that they are supposed to get to is about 7.5 exahash, but we did remove some miners, so I think that might have to come down a little bit based on that number. Okay. Now, as far as production has been concerned, they topped out here in August at 534. They went down a little bit in September to 481, 486 in October, 453 in November, 496 in December, which was really good, and then 486 here in January. Now, we have seen the network hash rate go up, so it is understandable that they are down, and they did not improve or install more miners percentage-wise to combat the network hash rate increase. But the good thing is Bitcoin price has gone up, so that kind of helps out in the long run. As far as their BTC per exahash efficiency, I use the end of the month numbers to compare them, and they came in at 103 BTC per exahash, which is still pretty good. They were 110 in December and 102 in November right now. Okay, they hodl 405 BTC, valued at approximately 8.2, and that is using, I believe, let's see here, that's using probably my average Bitcoin price, if I'm not mistaken here. Where's it at? Yep. So current Bitcoin price is at 20,250, which is incorrect. That's the average Bitcoin price that we're using for the month of January. Now, so it's going to be higher with Bitcoin being at 24,000 right now. Okay, and let's see here. As far as their production, so they're down about 10 BTC from December, which isn't too bad. It's about 2.02%. They are looking to be at about, revenue-wise for the month, it's going to be about 9.84 million in revenue. And they sold 486 for about 9.84 million in proceeds from that one. Okay, as far as January is concerned, based on the difficulty and everything else that I put into my settings here, which I track for each month, January ended the month with an average price of Bitcoin of 20,250. Average hash rate is 269 million. That's based on the starting hash rate of about 253, ending at about 286. That's where I came up with the numbers. And it looks like they were mining pretty much, well, they said they were mining, swapped out the miners towards the end of the month, which kind of makes sense that they would be mining pretty much for 31 days here on everything, given that they probably swapped them out relatively quickly. They didn't have a lot of downtime between the swap out between the new miners and the older miners. So they were pretty efficient. It looks like this month of 31 days, they were at 30.5 days in December. But we did have the network difficulty go up. So that's why they produce less Bitcoin. So that's why I keep saying the miners really have to keep growing in this market in order to combat it, to generate the same amount of Bitcoin, if not more. Now, as far as their numbers are concerned here, we do have them at 9.84 million here in revenue. They did increase 17.1% in revenue from December, which is good. Right? Bitcoin has gone up in price. Even though they mined less, they were able to increase their revenue by 17% based on Bitcoin going up in price. And then let me see here, the amount that they generated per machine here on average went up about 9.2% for the month compared to December. So they were at $6.19 in revenue for the 100 terahash miners. In January, they were at $6.76. So that was a 9.2% increase in that. But that also contributed to quite a bit more in revenue here, okay, with Bitcoin being up. Going down here, institutions, I forgot to check this out. We'll take a look. Well, we can take a look at it now. Institutions really quick on Bitfarms. I forgot to do that. And let's see here. Institutions 112. What do we have here? We had 114. So it looks like that did decrease a little bit. Shares went also down. It looks like 35.15. I had 30. Yeah. So that was decreased a little bit, and percentage owned decreased as well a little bit. So somebody has sold out. And as far as analyst ratings, we can take a look at it here. We can see that it's still one buy rating at $3.76. So that actually went up a little bit here. That got increased, and I'll update this for my Patreon members before I post this to them. Okay, so that's what we're looking at right now. And based on that information and everything else, with Bitcoin being up higher, I would imagine that 50% net income from gross revenue is kind of the way I calculated it. Their combined total for the last 4 quarters, which includes the current quarter, which is an estimated quarter. The other quarters, the 3 quarters prior to that one, are the actual numbers that they provided. I'm looking for them to be about 141 million in revenue. It is a decrease from December, but I think this first quarter in 2023 should be a better one once we get the price for Bitcoin in February. This will update here, and I'll get some more numbers here. If they mine the same amount, we'll probably be at the same figure. Well, February is going to be a shorter month. It's only got 28 days, so they're definitely going to mine less there. March is going to be, I think, 31 days, so that should pop it back up. So I do expect them to mine potentially around 30 million, depending where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin goes up to 30,000. Well, they're going to be making a heck of a lot more here in February and March, but we'll see where that ends up at. Right now, 50% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at $5.41. If Bitcoin starts going up nicely, we could be at 75% net income from gross revenue. So then we're looking at about $8.12 with a PE of 15. But if things really do start to pick up, I have them at probably $7.21 to $10.82 in the short term. Bitcoin goes up to 100,000, 200,000. Well, they're going to be up a lot higher. So this is kind of where I'm looking at the short term, where I think they should be right around currently. So I do think that they are undervalued, as most miners are right now. But we'll see. Okay, so that is it. Pretty good results. Paying down debt, increasing hash rate, and continuing to grow. So what more can we ask for? The efficiency was pretty good as well. Nothing really to complain about. If you guys have anything to complain about, let me know with Bitfarms, or let me know if you guys own them, if you guys are buying them, if you guys are selling them based on this information. But that's it. I'm going to start rambling on here, so I'll leave it at that. Other than that, spreadsheet is always going to be available to my Patreon members. As always, thank you to everyone there for their continued support. Thank you to you guys for watching all the time and subscribing. It helps out tremendously. And we'll see what happens during the rest of the week. We'll see who else provides production updates for January, which is going to be kind of interesting to see. And then we'll see how Bitcoin continues to go up. I think it is going to continue to go up. Given that what Fed Powell has said today, I think we are going to be in for a bull run this year. Don't know where we're going to end up at. I'm saying 40,000 by the end of the year, but based on what's happening now, we could be at 40,000 within 3 months. So we'll see. All right, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.